So now what we want to think about is what we're eating. Are we eating a vegetable or are we eating a fruit? And what's the difference between the two of them? Well, a fruit is an apple, it's a plum, it's a cherry, it's also a tomato, and it's a pepper. So what makes these the same? An apple, a tomato, and a pepper? Well, it's because the seeds are inside. So when we have a fruit, what we have is we have the skin and we have the food inside. And if we cut open our fruit, and we can do this, you can cut open the apple, or you could see what's inside the fruit. But see, here's the seeds inside. So that is what makes a pepper a fruit, botanically speaking. But do we think of this as a fruit, as in, are we just going to munch it like an apple or a cherry? Maybe, maybe not. It's all in the wordings, right? So this is a fruit. Now, a vegetable, and by the way, a fruit comes from a flower, right? So here's the remains of the flower and the stem. So anything that flowers and then has something growing from it is a fruit. Whereas, and this is where our spinach comes back into play and our Swiss chard, a vegetable is anything that is anything other than a fruit. So it can be a leaf, it can be a root, like our carrots or our potatoes. It can, by the way, an onion is mostly leaves, and it can be things like garlic. So all sorts of things can be vegetables. So let's play with this. So what we're going to do is, this is going to get our children to do some fine motor skills as well. So they're going to take their sheet and they're going to cut it in half, or cut it along these lines here. And depending on the age of the child, they'll be able to handle this quite nicely, or we might have to help them. But what we want to do is we want to cut out our squares. And this is an exercise, this whole exercise is about our children thinking about what it is that they're eating. Okay. Beyond the fact that it's food, so the plant that it comes from, is it a fruit or is it a vegetable? What does it taste like? How many of them are in our refrigerators? How many of them do we eat? That sort of thing. Because we want our children, when we talk food literacy, is to understand all of these things. Okay, and by the way, usually children take a lot longer to do that piece of things. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hold them up and we're going to decide. They can either tape them down, or they can use white glue, or they can use glue sticks, whatever it will take to have them stick. So start with an easy one. All right, what's an easy one? Our Swiss chard. What I like to do is hold up our Swiss chard leaf and Swiss chard. And so a vegetable is a leaf. So let's put the vegetable down here and you can glue it down. Next thing is, let's get ourselves a fruit. And we talked about tomatoes already. So tomatoes are fruits because the seeds are inside. And so let's put the tomato as a fruit. Okay. Here's an easy one. Strawberries. Well, sort of easy because the seeds are on the outside, but this is what they call an aggregate fruit. And so, but everybody knows that a strawberry is a fruit, so it goes up here. Okay, now we have cabbage or lettuce, whichever. And of course, we eat the leaves on these guys. So we're eating leaves, so that makes it a vegetable. The next one, let's go with another easy one. Well, not so much easy, but what the heck, are onions. And onions We know they're a vegetable, but why do we know they're a vegetable? And that's because inside are all these leaves. I'm just going to cut this open. And if you happen to have an onion as part of your demo, that's fine. But if not, you could just say that they're leaves. But it's kind of fun for the children to look inside and see that here's the stem and these are all the leaves. And that really brings home the thought that when we eat an onion, we're eating leaves. They just happen to be white instead of green. So let's put our onion down under a vegetable. So, what are cherries? They're fruit. How about a radish or a beet? Well, we've looked at beets already. So a beet is a root, so we know that it's a vegetable. Likewise, here's our apple. We know that an apple is a fruit, but why do we know it's a fruit besides the fact that it tastes sweet? It's got their seeds inside, and we tend to not want to eat our apple seeds. And how about our pepper? Here's our pepper with the seeds inside, so it becomes a fruit. And broccoli. And broccoli are the immature flowers, so we know that it's a vegetable. So it goes here. And we got a couple more vegetables. Here's a kohlrabi where we can eat the leaves and also the stem. And can we eat broccoli stems? Yes, of course we can. And the last thing is a pea. Well, guess what? Are peas fruit or vegetables? If we eat the whole thing, including the pod, it's a fruit. But if we eat just the seeds or the leaves or the flowers, then it's a vegetable. And that really gets our children intrigued. And that's what we want to emphasize, is that that things don't just arbitrarily go places. They've got all sorts of different ways that we can eat them and meanings as well as part of our food literacy.